Welcome to A Cup of Hope. I'm Sherry DuShaw, and I'm so glad you're here. If you just listened to the first episode with my son Josiah, welcome back. If you're starting here, I encourage you, go listen to that first episode too. It lays the foundation for everything we're going to talk about in this series. In the next 4 episodes, we're exploring the topic, Love Your Life. Because no matter where you are in your journey, God has something beautiful in store for you. Do you believe that? Like, really believe that to your core? If not, that's okay. There was a time that I really struggled to believe that God had good things for me. And it was super hard to be honest about that. But today, we're talking about something that has the power to transform your outlook on life and your perspective of who God is. Gratitude and contentment. If you've ever struggled with the feeling that your life isn't what you thought it would be, this episode is for you. So grab your favorite mug of coffee or hot tea, take a deep breath, and let's dig in. We live in a culture that constantly pushes us to want more. More success, more achievements, more of what others have. Did you know that the average person is exposed to 5,000 advertisements per day, all telling you that their widget is what you need to have a great life? 5,000 per day. Let that sink in. Now add to that, the average American is spending 2 hours and 14 minutes scrolling social media, other people's highlight reels. And then we wonder why we are the most anxious, depressed group of people in the world, and we lack peace in our lives. But what if I told you that real joy comes not from having more, but from fully embracing where you are right now? Let's talk about what contentment really means. 1. Acknowledge the reality of disappointment. Before we jump right into contentment, we need to acknowledge the reality of disappointment. Let's be honest, life doesn't always turn out the way we expected, and that can be painful. It's okay to grieve the things that didn't happen, the losses, the disappointments, big or small. Actually, we need to grieve those things. We don't have to ignore them or pretend that they don't exist. But we also don't have to stay stuck in the pain and disappointment. I recently listened to a podcast with Christy Wright and Annie F. Downs, and they were talking about how to deal with disappointment, and Annie mentioned the importance of lament. I was so intrigued because we don't really use that word today. So I did a little research, and I was blown away. I can promise you that there will be a future episode on this topic, because it is so rich and applicable for our daily lives. But one thing that was impactful as I read is how important it is to be honest about the pain. I was reminded by the book of Psalms, this pattern of being honest about a situation at hand that isn't working out quite the way the psalmist wanted, asking God to fix the situation, and then choosing to trust God, then praising God because of his character. What we often see at the end of these psalms of lament is a change of heart. Gratitude and contentment don't mean denying our struggles. Instead, they give us a new lens, a way to see the good even in the midst of the hard. But we need to define contentment. What exactly is contentment? A lot of people think contentment means settling or just accepting whatever comes your way without trying to change anything. That's not contentment, my friend. That's apathy. Dictionary.com defines content as satisfied with what one is or has, not wanting more or anything else. Contentment isn't about doing nothing. Rather, it's about being. It's about trusting God with where you are while also taking steps toward where He's leading. Paul talks about this in Philippians 4:11-13. He says that he learned the secret to being content in every situation, not because everything was perfect, but because he found his strength in Christ. What is your focus when you are not content? For me, it is myself. What is wrong? What I don't have? Then I could create this catastrophized story in my head. Anyone know what I'm talking about? On the other hand, when I'm living from a place of contentment, I'm okay no matter what. Life is so much more peaceful. I can desire something, but if I don't get it, I'm okay. Contentment is a process, not a one-time decision. Contentment is a heart attitude that is learned through practice. Now that we know what contentment is and is not, it is a process, not a one-time decision. How do we learn it? Well, my friend, I'm so glad you asked. The answer: gratitude. It is the first step to shifting perspective. Gratitude is one of the quickest ways to shift your mindset and open your eyes to the blessings around you. When life feels overwhelming, gratitude is a choice. You can make it immediately, and it doesn't require perfect circumstances. I remember a time I was completely overwhelmed. I felt stuck and defeated. Life was really, really hard, and everything felt out of control. My coach challenged me to write 5 things I was grateful for each day for an entire month without repeating anything. At first, it felt impossible, but I forced myself to look for new things to be thankful for every day. And as I did, my perspective started to shift. Looking back, it's actually kind of embarrassing. There were so many beautiful things around me that I don't ever remember noticing before. The gorgeous sunsets right outside my back door. The beautiful birds that hung out in the tree right outside my office window. The pretty crepe myrtle and the fragrant lilac bush in my front yard. About a week into my gratitude practice, I began to realize that it didn't change my circumstances, but it was changing me. Next, let's talk about the transformative power of gratitude. Science backs this up too. Research shows us that practicing gratitude actually rewires your brain, helping you focus on the positive instead of constantly dwelling on what's missing. It enhances dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters that are responsible for happiness, and it reduces fear and anxiety by regulating the stress hormones. Gratitude helps us move from, I don't have enough, to, I see the blessings God has already given me. Think about a time you focused on what you lack. How did that make you feel? Now, think about a time you chose to focus on what you did have. It's a completely different experience, right? Finally, let's talk about some practical steps to cultivate gratitude. So, how do we make gratitude a daily practice? Here are 3 simple steps that you can start today. Number 1, keep a gratitude journal. Every morning or evening, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They can be big or small, but challenge yourself to be specific and not repeat anything for 30 days. I like to do this first thing in the morning as a way to set the direction for my day. Keep this simple and doable. You can have a simple notebook or journal, or even use the Notes app on your phone. Number 2, express gratitude out loud. Take a moment to tell someone you appreciate them, or thank God for something specific in your day. This is one that I am working on right now because people don't know how much you appreciate them if you don't tell them. And it's important to tell God the things that we appreciate. Number 3, shift your mindset in the moment. When you catch yourself complaining or focusing on what's missing, pause and ask, what is something I can be grateful for right now? In closing, I want to leave you with a question. What stood out to you today? Maybe it was the reminder that gratitude is a choice, or contentment is a process. Maybe it's the realization that even in the hard moments, you can still find something to be thankful for. Or maybe it is something completely different. That's okay. Now, what are you going to do? Make sure to let me know in the Cup of Hope Facebook community so we can all grow together. Thank you for joining me for a Cup of Hope. If today's episode has encouraged you, make sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And if you'd leave a review, it would mean the world. It helps more women just like you find hope and practical tools for their journey. This week, I have a free resource just for you. Download the Love Your Life Reflection Journal, a simple guide to help you process where you are, what you want, and how to take small, meaningful steps toward a life you love. You'll find the link in the show notes. And if this episode resonated with you, don't forget to share it with a friend who could use a little hope. Remember, God can take the broken pieces of your story and create something more beautiful than you ever imagined. Until next time, I'm Sherry DuShaw, and this is a Cup of Hope.